Hello, everyone. Welcome into Above My Pay Grade. My name is Eric. Thanks for tuning in. If you could hit that like button, hit subscribe, it really helps out the channel. As politicians and world leaders keeps trying to reassure people, and I've said this before, they can't tell you the truth because to some extent, if they did tell you the truth, it would expedite the whole financial system falling apart. If financial leaders or world leaders were to come out and say, hey, everything's falling apart and we have no control of it, what do you think would happen? So they have to reassure people. But this story just is really sad. And it goes to show just how bad I believe things are going to get. We are living through history right now. And if you are to listen to pundits and world leaders, you might think everything's going to be okay. This story from NASDAQ.com. Crushed by coronavirus and war, a 156-year-old German car supplier files for insolvency. Borger's a 156-year-old company which began producing padding material for carriages. Unbelievable. Already pledged significant assets to lenders after the coronavirus pandemic. So the coronavirus pandemic hit them. Inflation's hitting them. But we've lived through turmoil in the past, and this 156-year-old company has lived through turmoil in the past, including World War I, World War II, Nazi Germany, rampant inflation during the Weimar Republic. This company has lived through all that, and yet now they are declaring insolvency. Crazy times. Crazy times. And again, like I said, pundits are going to tell you everything's okay and they got it under control, but they don't have it under control. And companies that have made it through 2 world wars are having to file for insolvency. Very sad. And yet, world leaders are still taking people's money and giving it to Ukraine. Now, are European people loyal to Ukraine? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they support this, maybe they don't. Maybe American voters do. It's not really for me to pontificate. But when there is a financial crisis in a country, typically people don't take too kindly to you taking their tax dollars and handing it to another country. Typically they don't. Reading from an article here from Zero Hedge, the EU, the European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, which, don't you just love that? You got Klaus, you got Ursula. These are like Bond villain names. It's just fantastic. Announces the bloc, the European bloc, will continue to give Kiev $18 billion next year. $1.5 billion per month. Do you think these unelected European Union, European Central Bank leaders have the best interest of Germans in mind? I don't think so. And basically, I've said this before, but how long do you think countries are going to stand for this kind of overreach? Taking money from Germany to bail out Greece, to bail out Italy. I just don't think that's a recipe for success for the European Union. Further reading here. So far this year, the bloc has provided Kiev with 19 billion euros. Looking ahead to 2023, the EU is committing to give Kiev 1.5 billion euros per month. And not to be outdone, here in the United States, I said this the other day, every American is signing a check for $150 to Ukraine because the Congress wants to give another $50 billion to Ukraine. That's $150 per person, including kids. I just, and it's not, it doesn't have to be a binary choice. You don't have to say, hey, I disagree with giving this money and I also hate Ukraine. You don't have, those two things can be true at the same time. You support Ukraine, you don't support Russia, but you also don't support your government taking money from taxpayers during an inflationary time and handing it out. But that's for you to decide ultimately. But in the European Union, you have businesses that have been in business for 150 plus years and now declaring insolvency. And it's just sad that these central planners continue to take money and hand it out. My humble opinion. Let me know what you think. Do you support this kind of government spending from the power of the printer, ultimately, because they're not raising taxes, they're just raising the deficit? Do you support this? Or would you prefer that we had some kind of sound currency? That if the government were to take money and send it to a foreign country, they actually have to take it from their citizens and tax it from their citizens instead of printing it and taxing it on the back end through inflation. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you guys in the next one. Peace.